Hello. I think that worked. I think we're live. I think there's a couple people out there watching us live, and hopefully more of you guys will join us soon. Welcome to another episode of Talking Death. It's been too long.
It has been too long.
We're going to do this show actually in the interim of Game of Thrones, and just because of our schedules, we weren't able to do it, but we really wanted to do one for Stranger Things, and so here we are. Let me just get this out of the way. If you guys are just joining this for the first time or you're watching maybe the replay of this over on the Death Wish Coffee Company YouTube page, I am the Incredible Jeff.
I am the mother of content.
And we both do a lot of stuff here at Fueled by Deathcast. We do the live Fueled by Death show every single Wednesday on the Death Wish Coffee Company Facebook page. Go check that out. For being a fan of everything we do here at Fueled by Deathcast, you guys get a special discount code. If you didn't know that, you can go on over to deathwishcoffee.com, pick up some coffee, some merchandise, whatever you'd like to pick up there, and you get 12% off for using the code
Mother of content.
That's right. Well, all one word, mother of content. And we're going to do something fun. Right now, you guys are all in the running. I see there's a handful of people watching live right now. We're going to give away a 4-pack of cold brew, whether it's black or slightly sweet. Basically, I want you guys to comment throughout this entire show. We're going to talk about some of your comments that I see live on Twitch. And tell us your favorite Stranger Things moments. Tell us your favorite 80s movies. Tell us, just join in on those comments. And one lucky comment at random will win a 4-pack of our brand new cold brew coffee. And I'll say that a couple more times as we're doing this. I want you guys to know that we are starting back up on Twitch. We're going to do some more content this week. Tune in on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Chelsea and myself, we're going to do another Talking Death. This time we're going to recap the recent Spider-Man Far From Home.
That's going to be good.
I'm very excited about that. It was a lot of fun. If you guys saw that movie, definitely tune in on Wednesday with Chelsea and I, and we can join the conversation. We're going to give away some more cold brew too. So we'll have some fun doing that. And like I said before, follow everything at Fueled by Deathcast. That is the live show with Shannon every single Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Death Wish Coffee Company Facebook page. Also, the podcast with a guest every single Thursday. This Thursday, I got a chief scientist at NASA on the show, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And then every Sunday is the science podcast, which this Sunday is going to be all about Apollo 11 because it's the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 this weekend, and our coffee is going back to space.
Space!
It's crazy. SYKZDK, sick. I'm terrible at saying things. How would you say that?
I just wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, your name on Twitch, you said War Games. I love that movie. Matthew Broderick, one of the best 80s movies out there. I used to think that I could hack. Like he hacked the NSA. Did you ever see War Games with Matthew Broderick?
Nope.
Very, very. It's way before your time, but it still holds up. It's about him and this girl, and he's like a computer hacker in the beginning of Hacker Days, and he literally hacks the NSA and makes the computers think that everything's going to war, and it's crazy.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you should check it out. But obviously, 80s are fun, and 80s movies are fun. That's why the nostalgia of all of that surrounding that has made Stranger Things one of the biggest shows on Netflix and one of the biggest shows out in the world. It broke records this year. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
42 million homes tuned in on July 4th weekend to watch Stranger Things. And I'm just going to say this right now. If you guys are joining us live or you're watching the recap on YouTube and you haven't seen the entire season, watch. Yeah, stop it here. Go watch the rest of the season and then come back because there's going to be a lot of spoilers. And let's kick it right off. The way we do things right here on Talking Death is we go down the death list of whatever we're talking about. So let's kick it off with the death list of some of the deaths that happened this season of Stranger Things. So first up, probably the least talked about, but I feel is the most impactful.
Yep.
30+ poor souls
Those poor people.
From Hawkins. I mean, oh my gosh. Like moms, dads, children.
Yeah, there were kids involved.
That is absolutely
Families.
Absolutely terrifying. I have a photo, actually, a screen grab of it, that exact moment when they're all walking down the stairs and they're turning into goop.
Yeah. At that moment, I was like, are these people dying right now? Are they dead? Yeah. Answer was yes.
Answer was yes.
Most definitely.
Like, what's crazy is that, you know, we got like an expose at the end of the season, you know, like where they're like, welcome to hell, here is Hawkins, you know, and it's like, yeah, but you're still not even dealing with it. There was such that outrage, if you guys remember back in season 1 when like Barb died.
Yes.
And there was such the outrage of like a literal child from high school is dead and no one's talking about it.
Right, and same with this, like, it just, I hope this is tied up in the next season, which season 4 is unconfirmed, but basically confirmed at this point. 30 people in a mall on the 4th of July die in a fire. Why are these people in a mall?
Right. Why? I don't know.
Like, what's the cover up there? It just seems...
It seems really weird. But, again, that's the 80s trope of, like, stuff happening in a movie and nobody really talks about it. But there are so many families that are just torn apart. You know, their kids are dead or their mom or dad is dead or all of them are dead. Like that poor cheerleader and her parents.
Yeah.
Like, that entire family is just dead now. And I just think that is absolutely crazy. We're definitely going to see the repercussions of that because, I mean, look at the buyers. They left. Like, you know, Joyce was already deciding to move her family. You know, we found that out when her and Hopper were talking. But, I mean, they up and left. I would have, too. I was like, F Hawkins. I'm out of here. But, yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy. We lost 30 poor souls of Hawkins, and they're all dead. But, man, that crazy mind flayer, teeth and bone, and gross monster,
exploding rats.
Oh, the effects were amazing.
So good. Like literally, there were multiple scenes where I literally gagged, as we talked about in season 8 of Game of Thrones, where I literally gagged.
Yeah.
This season of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Exploding rats, not fun.
For sure. Another death that really isn't talked about a lot is, not him yet. These guys, the poor Russian soldiers back in 1984 when we see them in the beginning, and also in 85 when they're trying to, you know, stop Hopper and Joyce and Maury from, you know, ruining their day.
Deuces.
I don't know how many we lost, 10, 20 soldiers?
Yeah.
Vaporized.
Dead. Gone forever.
And that sucks. You know, that's like...
What if they were evil Russian soldiers?
I mean, that's the stereotype, but so many times, you know, people are just happen to be in the military because they are in the military, or a lot of countries make you be in the military or whatever.
True.
You know, and then you have
Especially
to follow...
Russia in the 80s, I'm sure.
Right, and then you have to follow orders. Like, you know, the Russian military is like, you have to go to America, you have to go to this place called Hawkins, and you have to live underground and never see the sun and protect this stuff that we're not going to tell you what it is. And these poor guys didn't know what they were doing. They're just following orders, and then they got vaporized into little piles of goo. You know? I know.
Ew,
I'm with you, Ecto Illusion. You know, the whole Soviets trying. This is the Cold War. You know, death to Russia.
Red Scare, yeah.
The Red Scare, all of that.
The height of it.
I get it. But, you know, R.I.P. all the Russians that died. Also, R.I.P. the first scientist there who got choked up just like Darth Vader choked up his general in the first Star Wars in A New Hope there. He even held him up by his feet, and there was this shot of just his feet dangling. It was great. But I call the guy Discount Terminator.
I like that.
Because he really is. And just kills him. And that's what sets Alexei into motion into becoming the chief scientist of all of that. And because this poor guy didn't do the job he was supposed to, and the drill blew up. And you know,
nuts.
That's how that's gonna happen. Which again brings me to
Alexei.
Poor Alexei.
See, the first time we saw Alexei on screen, he looked terrifying. I was like, this guy's gonna be an evil Russian genius.
Yep.
He's gonna cause some shit to happen in Russia, and the actor who portrayed him did such a good job, like leading us down that path that he was gonna be some evil guy. Then we get to know him, and I actually liked him.
I liked him so much.
And his love for Slurpees.
Oh my gosh. And this is the trope. What's cool about this trope is this is a real world trope, but also another 80s action movie type trope where the scientist is only concerned about doing the science he wants to do. You know, like it's not like, I adhere with the Russians, or I adhere with the Americans, or I'm this political leaning, or I'm a good guy or a bad guy. It's literally just let me do my science. And are
Right.
you going to fund my science? Okay, then I will pledge allegiance to you for funding my science. There are multiple examples of this. One of the most famous, and one of the things that was referenced a lot in this movie, is Back to the Future. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know the backstory of Doc Brown. Doc Brown, his backstory is that he was working on the Manhattan Project, the nuclear bomb project, and kind of was coming up with all these crazy ideas about time travel and all this other stuff. And they were like, why don't you kind of leave? We don't want you anymore. And he was kind of disgraced and left, but was really working for that to fuel what he would eventually make, which was a time machine.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, like that's that whole thing. And there's a real world example of this too. Werner von Braun, who is best known as the scientist that made the space race possible, made the Saturn V rocket be able to go into space, make Apollo 11 and all of those other missions happen. He was working for the Axis of Evil. He was working for the Nazis to begin with. And thanks to Operation Paperclip, he was brought over into America and started working for us, and had famously said, I don't care who I'm working for. As long as you let me make rockets, I don't care. Like, I'm not, like, it's not about anything.
That was Lexi for sure.
And that's Alexi for sure. He had some great moments on the show. Like you said, I didn't really know how to feel about this guy until we kind of got like that haphazard running through the woods with Hopper and Joyce. And then when everybody meets up with Maury, I mean, come on, like that whole
what a great scene.
That
whole
group. Sequence, yeah, that whole they're being dubbed Eagle's Nest on the internet, which
That's
is great. But yeah, you know, like, I mean, it was just so cool to see that shift. And I know a lot of you out there probably feel the same as we do, and R.I.P. Alexi.
Just seeing how happy he was to win one of those games that Murray told him all of them were rigged and they were gimmicks, and it was just wanting to get his money, and then all the kids are cheering him on, and then he gets freaking shot by Discount Terminator.
Discount Terminator.
Look at how happy he is.
Look at how happy he was. At least he got that moment of happiness before he died. I really feel like they telegraph stuff like this in movies and television, and especially like the tropes that they're leaning on in Stranger Things, which is the whole 80s ideal, is that, you know, in the beginning, when the scientist is choked out and then the bad general goes to Alexi and he's like, you have a year. It's like, you have a year to live, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Like he's not gonna, there's no happy ending for this guy.
Exactly what he realized, or what Hopper realized, and he was like, yeah, here are the keys, you can leave. He's not going to. I give him 30 seconds.
Yeah. It was sad, but, you know, at least we got Alexi. R.I.P. Alexi. And it was, what a great sequence at the fair. Not only of them running around, but Mari and Alexi just having a good time. In fact, the local fair around here, Saratoga County Fair, is next week.
Oh, it is?
Yes. And actually, my wife and I were talking because she really wants to go to Night Fair. She wants to do Stranger Things and go to Night Fair, so you should come.
I'm down.
All right. So we're going to go.
Confirmed.
And we're going to do that, and it'll be a lot of fun. Moving on with deaths, another tragic death, which I didn't think was going to be so tragic, was Billy.
Hargrove.
Billy Hargrove has been a villain since he was introduced, first episode of season 2.
He was immediately hated.
Immediately.
Like, didn't even get a chance for people to, like, first like him, and then he was a jerk. Like, he was immediately a jerk in season 2, especially with how he treated Max.
And, you know, that is a lot on the guy who plays him, Dacre Montgomery. Yeah. He does such a good job being a dirtbag, but also having layers to his dirtbagginess. You know, like, I really think that he... You know, he does such, like, and I didn't know this until the end of season 2. He's part of the Power Rangers. He's in the new Power Rangers movie. So he's got a good career going, but I mean, like, 2 seasons on Stranger Things, we got him. And it opens up with him being even more of a dirtbag because he goes hard at Mrs. Wheeler.
That whole scene made me so uncomfortable. I was just like, ugh. Especially because I'm like, your daughter is his age.
Right?
And I was just like, oh, this is gross. And all the moms, like, love him.
Ugh.
I was like, oh, God.
I mean, it definitely shows the dynamic of, there was a lot of relationship dynamic.
Oh, yeah, big
From
time.
the kids being teenagers and figuring out love for the first time to, like, people like, Mrs. Wheeler, definitely in a relationship that she's not really happy with her husband.
Right.
By the way, I've said this since season 1, and I'm going to say it again. I cannot wait for the day that Mr. Wheeler dies. That dude is a milquetoast soap dish of a man that just sucks. Like, he should, out of all the other random characters that die, Mr. Wheeler just sucks. He sucks. He's just such a sucky character, and he doesn't make his wife happy, and
Doesn't have much substance.
He has no substance. Exactly. Ryan Nutland, he sleeps and complains. That's all he does. He sucks. He should die. And I don't wish death on anyone in real life, but in fake fantasy worlds where people die in horrific ways, come on, Mr. Wheeler, you should be the next to die. Bye. But we think that this is going to go to a weird place where Billy is going to shtup Mrs. Wheeler there, but he never makes it. He never makes it to her. Because he gets mind flayed.
That scene was nuts.
That was nuts. He crashes his car. He gets rock. And what's crazy is he gets basically railed into the basement there where we know that the crazy stuff is. But then he comes out, and you have that one moment of being like, did he get away?
Right.
Nah, he didn't get away. And it was crazy that not only did he not get away, but the Mind Flayer crazy monster thing utilized him more than anything that it embodied.
Yeah.
And that was kind of weird. But can we talk about how disgusting that whole sequence was of making exploding rats? Ugh. That harkens back to great old school movies like The Thing, The Blob. Just really visceral. I was saying this to a couple friends after watching this season that what really struck out to me is when that massive goo and teeth and bones and clothes all like starts to take shape. Shout out to the visual effects people of Stranger Things, because even though I know I'm watching a science fiction fantasy type thing,
it looks real.
It looks like it exists in the world, in the rules of the world that they've explained to us. We understand now what the Upside Down is. We understand what a Demogorgon is. We know that these things exist in that world. So that didn't look out of place, even though it looked insane.
Terrifying.
It didn't look out of place. And I thought that was really, really cool. But I mean, holy crap, what a disgusting source of everything. And that's what we know deep down is infecting poor Billy. And Billy, again, does a great job of towing the line between being completely controlled and completely just, evil.
Right.
And we do get to see this vulnerability with him.
The acting of Billy in this season is absolutely phenomenal. We see him personifying this horrible mind flayer monster thing, and how he's acting, or even at the pool when he was outside, because we all know the mind flayer likes it cold.
Right.
When he's sweating and he looks sick. And he can't concentrate. And then when he's fighting the kids, we see this vulnerable
in the locker
child
room
come out. We see Billy come out basically crying for help.
Yeah.
Literally crying for help.
And upon rewatching that scene, when I first saw that scene when he's just like, it's not me, blah, blah, I was still like, he's evil. This is a trick. This is the Mind Flayer playing a trick. But probably rewatching that scene, I don't think it is. I really think that's this poor tortured soul really trying to get out and be like, I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. It was sad. And then when Elle goes into his mind and sees, his dad and how terrible his dad was. And
mom, yeah.
And, and he comes from a broken home. And, we kind of got that in season 2. We saw that. We saw how that home was broken and how the dad definitely did not treat Billy well. And that is definitely a reason why dirtbags become dirtbags.
Exactly. The classic reasoning behind the boys that they're broken. Or they're abused, or a mix of both.
Yeah. But, what a tragic character. And I can't believe that we get to the point where this tragic character that we hate for 2 seasons dies heroically,
saving 11,
saving everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was the moment. If that moment didn't happen, all of the other pieces that were turning at that point the timing wouldn't have been right.
Right.
And a lot of more people would have died. It wouldn't have just been Elle. And I think that's incredible that we got that incredible sequence from him. And you feel for him. You're like, wow, like, you're a hero, you know? Like,
and 11 knowing how to get to him just from being in his mind and seeing his memories and just reciting this memory of him and his mom.
Yeah.
Just to get him to remember who he was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Powerful.
very well done, very powerful.
I'm glad he got a last word to Max too.
Yeah.
And she came over and he apologized.
Yeah.
I thought that was very powerful sibling bonding, even though they're not full siblings.
Exactly. And as an 80s kid myself, I have to say there is no more heroic death than dying in the mall in front of your friends.
There you go.
Very, 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 very cool. But probably the most tragic and the most mysterious
Dun, dun, dun.
and the most hard to deal with is the death of Hopper. Hopper has been shown to us as this character who really has had an arc through the 3 seasons.
Yeah.
We're given him in the very beginning as a cop who doesn't give a shit. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. What have I told you? Mornings are, and he's walking in before he even gets to Joyce in his office. He's just like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
You know,
and
like,
even when Will is first missing, he's like, he's probably just run away. He doesn't really give a shit. He's not really taking the case seriously.
Yeah.
And we see this, like, stereotypical lazy cop.
Stereotypical, but we've learned so much about this character, and he's grown every season. And I agree, Ecto Illusion, I agree with you. I don't think he's dead either, but we'll get there. Looking back, I think one of the good things about good writing is you kind of put seeds in place without the viewers knowing it until you get to the end. And I think they did that immediately in the beginning when they explained when the drill doesn't work and it zaps everything, it vaporizes anybody in the room. So it was like, that's going to happen to somebody. We're going to see that happen to somebody. And unfortunately, it was Hopper. Question from Twitch, actually. How did the Russians build the elevator without anyone noticing it? Right?
Good question.
I don't know, because we start out this season in 1984 in Russia, and, you know, their drill doesn't work, and the guy says to Alexei, you have a year. So I guess we're supposed to believe that within that year's time, they go to Hawkins, because that moment in 1984 is happening parallel to season 2 of Stranger Things. So they know that there's this huge rift happening in Hawkins, so that's on their map, so they want to go there. And they build this facility that, at least in my understanding of it, basically that whole long corridor that the Scoops Troop go down, I think, is supposed to connect the mall to the original facility.
That's what I was thinking.
Where 11 was created, and where Elle, closed the gate in season 2, because that's where the gate is the thinnest, and they were able to kind of put that in there as well, But how did they do it? How did they infiltrate? And that was the scare back in the mid 80s and the early 80s. That was the scare. There were these Russian cells of military doing things in America that nobody knew about, and it was scary. So who knows?
Right, and I think those are some answers we'll get in season 4 too. Like, maybe the Russians have already infiltrated Hawkins at that point, and they knew about 11, or they knew about the signs going on there, and these things, were planted seeds, like you said before.
Yeah.
But I think we need some answers on more of the Russian involvement next season.
We definitely do. I hope we get... That's one of the things that I don't like as much about these first 3 seasons is we don't have any answers. We've never gotten answers
for any of this.
I'll give you my biggest criticism of this season. The final episode, when the military finally shows up and we get a very small glimpse of Paul Reiser's character, who we now know runs that branch of the military. He's like the head of the doctor of doing all those experiments and everything like that. And all we get is a look from him. I think that's that's not giving us as viewers enough. It's not like that was a reveal and it was like, ooh, who's this new character?
Right.
We know who this is. We should get a little bit of an insight to what he thinks of what's going on.
Exactly.
And we're not getting that. I don't know.
Yet.
I don't know. But going back to Hopper's arc wasn't only just, through these last 3 seasons. He had a ton in this season, and one of that was to be a dad.
Right.
Unfortunately, his daughter died at a very young age, so he's never had a teenager. And he's really struggling dealing with a teenager. Not only dealing with a teenager, but with a teenager who doesn't know how to be a normal teenager.
Right.
So it's
She's still learning.
It's like twofold. It's like, what is happening? What is happening? And I felt bad for him because, I got the whole 3 inches. Keep your door 3 inches. I got to ask you, as a girl, a young girl, were you allowed to have boys in your room?
No.
Not alone, right?
Not at first. With
What
my
age?
dad, never.
Never. Probably still never.
See, my parents are divorced, so 2 different houses. Dad's house, never. No boys allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Even if to this day, no
Yeah,
boys allowed.
no boys allowed. You'll
My
be
mom-
60 years old and
Right.
still no boys allowed.
My mom was a little more lenient with it once I had a long-term boyfriend.
Okay.
But that was mainly just because my bedroom was in the basement, so we were just hanging out in our basement anyway, like in our couch and TV and whatnot. But Hopper reminded me a lot of my dad. And
Yeah.
the opening scene of him sitting there, like, all grumpy, like...
Yeah, no, and I wonder about you guys out there too, but I really felt a connection to all of that because
Yeah.
it's like I don't have children, but I know how much of a piece of shit I was as a teenager, and I know what I put my parents through, and I know that I wasn't allowed to have a girl in my room again until it was a long-term relationship, probably 16 and up, maybe even at that point.
Right, I was thinking like 17.
Yeah,
probably.
17 maybe is when I was able to. But yeah, my bedroom, we had a 2-story house, and my bedroom was on the 2nd story. So more often than not, we couldn't even go upstairs.
Right, yeah.
Like at all. Like
That's
we were
common.
hanging out in the family room or outside or in the living room or wherever. But yeah,
Right.
not allowed to go upstairs with a girl. So I get that. But the other side of that is, did you feel that Mike was a dick?
Oh, when Hopper came in to talk to them about keeping the door open or whatever he needed to talk to them about. Oh, about the speech he prepared with Joyce. And Mike was like whispering in 11 years, like, oh, I think we're in trouble. If a guy said that to my dad, I think he'd get smacked upside the head.
Yeah, be like, okay, you're never seeing my daughter again.
Right.
Goodbye.
Like that'd be the final strike right there.
As much as I always, feel for the teenager, the kid in the situation, because you're never understood as a teenager. No one
Right.
understands me, and I get
I
that.
don't get privacy.
I get that. I really felt for Hopper because even though Hopper wasn't dealing with the situation the way he should have been, maybe, I still think that, Mike was not respectful to him
No.
in the least. And of course, Elle's going to egg him on because she doesn't know any better, Like, I didn't get it. I see a lot of your comments on Twitch, actually, of you guys all agreeing that, no boys and girls in your room when you're kids.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Mike deserved to get messed around with after that when he's like, your Nana's sick.
yeah.
I'll take you
Oh,
home.
God, exactly. And I love how the through line of all of these seasons is friends don't lie, and yet they lie to each other all the frickin' time.
I know.
Oh my God! And yeah, that whole scene with Hopper and Joyce when Joyce is giving him advice, in the shop and all that. I thought that was really, really
I
well
thought that
done.
was too. Joyce is such a cool mom.
And again, kudos to the set designers on that. You like in that little shop that she works, all of the products on the shelves, they're all 80s, products. It's like I don't know how they find all that stuff, but holy crap, that was absolutely amazing. They had the moment where Joyce was watching Cheers, and she was thinking back to when her and Bob were watching Cheers together, which was sad. But then it was really her kind of watching Cheers alone, and it was a moment between Sam and Diane on the show, and I thought that was very subtle and very cool because that is Hopper and Joyce in this season. They're like at each other's throats, but you can tell, as Maury says, they just have to pull over and have sex with each other.
Right.
Like it's like, come on, like, why haven't you guys even done that yet? But Also, I think one of the greatest characters of the show is Hopper's shirt.
Oh my God, that shirt. The entire 80s is just summed up in that shirt.
Yeah. I mean, he's watching Magnum PI early on, and then he gets the shirt, so he's like, obviously, like, I'm gonna be Magnum PI. But that shirt just throughout the entirety of the show, I just love it. You can buy it now. It's available.
Oh God, of
wherever
course
it is. I almost clicked buy. Almost. This is close.
You should get it.
I should. But yeah, I thought that was amazing. And we got to see Hopper really flex his detective skills.
We did.
In this season, and I thought that's really cool because we've only started to learn a little bit about Hopper each time we get a new season. So
right.
in the first season, there's a throwaway line from one of his deputies that big city cop getting used to the small town again.
Right.
So he was a big city cop before he came back home because he grew up in Hawkins. So he obviously was doing bigger stuff, bigger cases, probably murders, probably that kind of thing. And then in season 2, when Elle and Hopper get into a fight and Hopper leaves and Elle basically destroys the place, and she pulls up the floorboards and she finds the box of documents all about her mom, which sets her on the path to go find her mom and everything. Directly next to that box is a box labeled Vietnam.
Yeah,
So Hopper more than likely is ex-military.
Yeah.
And more than likely, we're seeing the fruit of that because he's very, very comfortable using semi-automatic weapons, you know, and when he infiltrates the Russian base and everything, he's taking point, and it's like he's comfortable doing that. He's not. He's not a beat cop.
It goes beyond a cop.
Yeah, like when the elevator comes up in that scene and he mows everybody down, it's like he's done that before.
Right. And I think we also saw just how damaged he was each and every season. Like first season, we learn about his daughter dying and how he tells people in the search, like, oh, my daughter's going to be in first grade. So he's obviously still grieving about that. We get hints that he's a big drinker. We get hints in this scene that, he was a pill popper.
Yeah.
And, like, had issues with that, too. And, like, Mayor was like, I covered that up for you when I hear you were popping pills on the job.
Yeah.
And driving drunk.
We see that a little bit in season 1, too, because I believe the first time we see him, he wakes up in the morning, brushes his teeth, smokes a cigarette, and pops pills. Like, I think that's the first time we see him.
Right.
So
and I just think we see him. He gets to a point in this season that he was just had like an I don't give a shit mentality. Like, I'm going to beat up the mayor in his office right now because I'm so sick of whatever the hell is going on in Hawkins. And he just goes rogue cop. I love it.
David Harbour beating up Carrie Elwes is one of my favorite sequences in the world because I love Carrie Elwes. Princess Bride forever.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, everything Carrie's done, I just think is incredible. And he does a great job in this season. And I got to ask, though, because Trisha talks about this sometimes, where when you cast somebody who's so recognizable, like, it takes her out of it sometimes. Like, she's watching it and she's like, even though Carrie Elwes was great, it's like, oh, that's Carrie Elwes the whole time.
Yeah.
Did you catch that, or did
No.
you feel like he really embodied that mayor?
I thought he really embodied the mayor. I thought he was a great pick for that role. And I didn't feel taken out of it at all.
Yeah.
If anything, it just made it like, I was like, he's perfect for this role.
He's perfect. I hope we see more of him.
Skeevy mayor.
I mean, you've established him in the show at this point. He didn't die.
Right.
He did some shitty shit and he got arrested. But that really doesn't mean anything.
Right. Does he have connections with what'll be interesting to see if he comes back in season 4.
Yeah, that'll be definitely interesting. Also, like I've been saying, is that entire sequence of the three of them infiltrating the base, how just to get to that point in a show like this. It's like this, like we've got these three characters that none of them should be in this situation.
Yeah, dressed up as Russian soldiers.
Yet they're all dressed up as Russians as part of the Eagle's Nest and infiltrating the Russian base. That was just incredible. But obviously that leads to that tragic moment. And
he gives her the nod just to do it.
Yep.
Oh, so sad.
And like it is sad. She's desperately trying to pull the keys together at the same time. And again, looks at her, and they just said they were going to go on a date when it was all over.
It's like, finally.
Oh gosh, it's so sad. But maybe
yeah,
Hopper isn't
he's
dead.
not dead though.
right?
I really don't
Maybe.
think.
So let's get into that. Let's get into we basically went through everybody's death at this point. So let's get into some of our favorite moments. And like I said, put in the comments some of your favorite moments from this season, from any of the seasons of Stranger Things. Talk about your favorite moments from 80s movies, whatever it is. I'm gonna pick a lucky winner at the end to win 4-pack of cold brew. But what's on everybody's mind is Hopper dead? First and foremost, he's such an incredible character, like we just got done saying. Why would you kill him off?
Right.
Secondly, it's the old comic book adage: if they don't die on panel or on screen,
they're not dead.
They're not dead, especially if they're a main character. If you do not see the body, then they are not dead.
Right.
And so first and foremost, one of the things was right when, and I slowed this down to look for it, right when the drill goes to explode and the Russians push into the room and they all get vaporized, there's a long shot of the drill exploding with the catwalk and the rift right there. Right where Hopper was standing, he's not there anymore.
Yep.
Now, again, maybe that's just editing for the sake of editing, and they didn't have David Harbour standing there because they're shooting a different scene and whatever. But I'm going to read into it.
So.
I'm going to read into it that he didn't do that.
I don't think the Duffer Brothers would do that, or the visual effects people. I think they know that people would.
Before that all happened, when he threw Discount Terminator into the drill and the thing explodes and all the lightning's there and he can't absolutely go, back and he knows he's stuck there, he looks twice at the rift and the camera follows him. We're on David Harbour's face. And then the camera moves a little bit, and his face goes like this, and then he's looking at the rift, and it does it twice. So it's almost like he's thinking, "What if I jump through that?" He knows you can. He knows you can live. He's been to the Upside Down.
Right. He knows how to navigate the Upside Down. So,
is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, a big tell is that note. The note that he worked on so hard to, sit down with Mike and Al and really talk through his feelings, and he never got a chance to do it.
Yep.
It was absolutely gorgeous. What a great written piece, which people think that there's stuff in there.
Oh, easily. You could dissect that, I'm sure.
But, how heartbreaking it was when Al's reading this. But the big tell, and Trish caught this immediately, is as that scene is going on, they play the soundtrack of the show is playing Heroes by Peter Gabriel. And it's a great song. It's poignant.
Yeah,
Obviously
beautiful.
it brings all the Hopper memories back and everything. But it is the exact same beat and the exact same song that is played when they pull Will's body out of the lake in season 1. And all the kids are like, "I can't believe he's dead. I can't believe he's dead. I can't believe he's dead." So maybe that's a huge tell
that he's not actually
dead because they're using that same song cue, and that is they're very smart about their songs. They're very smart about their music. They're very smart about all of that. I mean, go back to season 1 with the Clash, and how that was was such a subtle thing, but such a big moment. So is that really the thing? I've seen a couple of you guys say this in the comments already. The last sequence that we see is like a teaser, an after credit sequence where we're in a Russian prison and they go and feed a guy to the Demogorgon. But before they go feed that guy, the one guy says to the other, "No, not the American." Now, Hopper was called the American throughout the entire series. I had an argument with Trish about this, actually, because I was like, well, they're calling all of them the Americans because they're Russians.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, the Americans are here." And she's like, "No, that's why they're saying it there to make us think of it because they called him that." And I was like, no. And she looked it up online and she was right. So yes, Trisha, you're right. I was wrong. But I don't know if he's actually the American or not.
Right.
My thought process is that, okay, Hopper's in that cell. He's the American. He jumped through the rift,
and they
got out the other side, because we know that there's another side because they have a Demogorgon in the Russia. So there is a rift there. And they captured him, and he's in that Russian prison now. Trish has the idea that what if the American is actually the doctor from season 1, Papa,
Yeah, that he didn't die.
That he didn't die, and they captured him. And Hopper is just existing in
The Upside Down.
the Upside Down. Kind of. Will was able to survive there for a month, and he's a child.
Yeah.
Hopper is ex-military. He might have a little bit better of a way.
And he's been in there before.
And he's been in there before. So that could be the thing where we get some more Hopper. I don't know. Finally, somebody said this. Ecto Illusion, you said this too. There is a phone number. Okay, let me see if I can put it up here. It's 618-625-8313.
Call it.
Yep, 618-625-8313. It is the number that Joyce says to the government when she's at Murray Bauman's house, and he's like, no, don't give him my number, don't give him my number. And they actually set up that number as a real number. You can call it, and you can get Maury's answering machine.
Yep.
And
there's some hints in there, too.
It's pretty interesting because he says, if this is my mom, please call me back. If this is Joyce, I have something to tell you, but I want to tell you in person.
Right, because it's not good or it's not bad, but it's something.
But it's something.
Which I think is a huge hint.
Huge hint. But here's a downer, and I just want to kind of say this. What if this is the end of Stranger Things?
Oh, I'll be so sad.
Right?
There's so many unanswered questions we need.
What if, because first of all, Netflix has been getting into the habit of canceling some of their most profitable and highly rated stuff. And second of all, the Duffer Brothers have said, they have went on record saying that they have a story to tell, that they want to take 5 seasons to do it.
Yes.
So hopefully we're going to get more, Stranger Things. We're going to get 2 more seasons of this. But the way that this ended,
we don't know.
It could be the end of everything. Like, look at all of the crazy action movies of the 80s or horror movies or even kids movies like Goonies and stuff like that. They exist in a specific time frame, and then that's it. You know that the characters are still doing things and stuff is happening, but I mean, like, it's up to interpretation. I brought it up, so I'll say it again. One of my favorites, and I know yours too, is the Goonies.
Yep.
I used to, even as a kid, watching the Goonies, I would get to the end of the movie, and then I go, well, what happened to the pirate ship?
Right.
The pirate ship's just sailing. I was like, are they going to call the Coast Guard?
Right. Where's it going?
Literally, Indiana Jones in my head is screaming, that belongs in a museum. What happened to that? But it's just left up to interpretation.
Or like a lot of classic movies ending on like a cliffhanger, like the story's going to repeat itself, or then there's a next stage, but we're never going to see that stage. It's totally open to your imagination. I hope that doesn't happen here. But.
So, I don't think it's going to happen either. But if Netflix were like, we are not making any more Stranger Things, and it ends, this could be a definitive end.
Right.
The kids are broken up at this point.
Buyers move.
The buyers move, but Hawkins is saved.
Yeah.
Everybody has pretty much a definitive ending for their character.
Yeah.
Obviously they're going to continue to do things, but their characters are a lot better off than when we first met them in season 1.
Yes.
Especially Elle.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just want to put it out there just in case. I will be as mad or madder than all of you if this is the end of it.
Oh.
But just in case it is, maybe it is. I don't know. So what was really cool about season 3, I thought, was the way that they split everybody up.
Right.
And it all worked. I thought
perfectly.
About episode 4 or 5, I was like, how the hell is everybody going to come together and make sense of all of this? It seemed to me like it was going to be like an A story and a B story, and they were going to kind of never converge.
Right. Like there'd be parallels, but
they did. It was absolutely incredible. And the 3 main groups that have been dubbed this way by the internet, which I think is amazing, is Scoops Troop, the Griswold family, and Eagle's Nest. Now, Eagle's Nest obviously is because Murray was called Bald Eagle, which you loved.
So funny. I loved that.
And Scoops Troop because they worked at Scoops Ahoy, and the Griswold family because of the car, which I thought was great. That was very, very funny. And we've already talked at length about Eagle's Nest and how incredible those three and Alexi, R.I.P. Alexi.
R.I.P.
We're all doing. But let's talk a little bit about Scoops Troop.
My favorite. I love Scoops Troop.
I mean, are these our new Avengers? Are we now in a new age where these are our new Avengers? Because holy crap, we all knew. If you're a fan of this show, we all knew going into season 3. What's the one thing everybody couldn't wait for? Steve and Dustin. The return of Steve and Dustin. And when they see each other, they do the little lightsaber handshake and everything. It's amazing, right? And Robin looking at him and just like, how many kids are you friends with,
right.
you know?
Looks so good.
But so incredible. And obviously, you know, new additions of Erica, who's not necessarily a new addition. She was in season 2 as Lucas's sister.
Just the annoying little sister.
Yeah, just she had like 4 lines. That was it. And that's, again, incredible casting because they cast this girl who now holds her own in a scene with David Harbour and Winona Ryder and like these kids who are seasoned on this show. Holds her own.
When she called Murray Bauman Mr. Buttman, I lost it. Okay, Mr. Buttman.
Oh my gosh. But also too, let's talk about Robin. I mean, like, first of all, for those of you who don't know, played by Maya Hawke, that is Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter. Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke are not together anymore, but when they were, they did have Maya, and
she's awesome.
She's incredible. I didn't know it until about halfway through the season because I kept looking at Robin, and she had a couple facial expressions, and I was like, why do I recognize this girl? What has she been in? Has she been in something I've seen?
Right.
So I IMDb'd her, and it came up Maya Hawke, and I was like, oh my God, because there are moments, especially when they're infiltrating the Russian base, and they're like, you know, really like scared and stuff like that, and she's, you know, being a badass. It's Kiddo from Kill Bill. It is her. She is her mom. It's insane. Crazy. It's crazy. But such a good scene. And then probably one of the greatest scenes was the bathroom scene.
I love that scene. I thought that was very tastefully done.
Because another great 80s trope that I love, truth serum. All the best movies that have spies and stuff like that have truth serum. And I love that they brought that into play here. And it was Steve and frickin' Robin
drugged up.
that got drugged up. It was great. And that was a really great way to not only play those characters, but to reveal that she is gay in this time frame. That is like, that's the thing that's being lost on a lot of people, is that people are looking at it as, oh, they have introduced an LGBTQ character into Stranger Things in 2019. Good job, Stranger Things. But this is 1985.
Exactly.
And she's coming out to a guy that she knew from high school she just went through a traumatic experience with. But I mean, like, that is a big moment.
Right. And he just admitted his feelings for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a big moment for Steve, because we always thought that, you know, we had Dustin telling Steve that Robin was a perfect girl for him, and we're like, oh, there's the 80s moment where he's going to realize how great she is, which he does, but then we get the shock ending.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea that we've never really gotten Steve with a good girl.
Right.
Because
After Nancy,
season 1, well, he wasn't a good person to Nancy.
Oh, no.
And she sucks anyways. I'll get into that into a minute. But, you know, like he has been always called Steve the Hare. So in high school, he definitely had his share of girlfriends. We don't need to see him in a relationship at this point.
No.
We need to see him in a redemption.
Yep.
And he's being redeemed all the time. And I'm very excited to see more of Robin and Steve as buddies.
I am too.
And not a romantic kind of thing. Because that would have changed the entire dynamic
oh my God,
of what we had with them. I think to keep them friends and to really build on that relationship, I think that's going to be amazing.
Agreed.
Also, well, I just got to put up another picture of her because it's just amazing. Erica. Shout out to Erica again. This girl and this scene right here where her and Dustin are having their nerd off.
Oh my God.
And
so
he calls her a nerd.
I'm not a nerd.
Oh my God. I mean, how great was that scene when he's just like, he breaks it down for her. Like, you are a nerd. You're a big nerd.
Right.
And it's just like, haha. It was not cool to be a nerd in the 80s. It really wasn't. It wasn't cool to be a nerd in the 90s. It's only very recently cool to be a nerd. But still pretty cool.
Yeah.
That, we got all that in Stranger Things. Moving on to the Griswold family real quick. These guys were broken up as well throughout this group, this core group of the rest of the main people. We had Mike and Lucas kind of off on their own, dealing with how the hell are we in relationships kind of thing. And then you have Max and Elle, which was awesome.
I love seeing that friendship.
I have to ask again, from a girl's perspective, they do that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Because
Max is like the friend who will always be there for her friend and tell her, like, screw that guy. Like, you don't need him. Like that one supportive friend that every girl needs.
Yeah. That's that whole sequence when Elle shows up with Max's skateboard and she's like, can we talk?
Yeah.
And then she just starts talking and Max is just like, boyfriends lie. And it's like, oh, yeah.
And then I dump your ass.
You're right, Ryan. I dump your ass. But so you've got, the boys, you got the girls. And I love that sequence in the mall set to Material Girl by Madonna when they're all both shopping, but they kind of run into each other. Great 80s trope again. Where it's like, like the guys that like the girls and the girls that like the guys, and they happen to run in each other at the mall. Yeah, of course. That was great. But I really like the way that they handled Will. Will's the outlier. Will just wants to play Dungeons and Dragons still. Will doesn't have any romantic interest. Will just wants to still try and be a kid. You know why? Because Will's been through the most shit of anybody.
Yeah, you think?
And I feel so bad for the dude. In fact, he was very integral to this entire season without even knowing it because he was connected to the Mind Flayer.
Still.
So, like, he was like their early warning system. But I really like, and I've said this before, I really like that they didn't go the route of trying to either shoehorn romance into Will or making him come out as gay or try and do any of those types of things. I think they just need to leave his character ambiguous because he's broken.
What he's been through.
He's broken. He's a broken person, and we just need to see him kind of like Elle go in that same trajectory and try to become a normal human being for once, because that poor dude.
And I think Will does a really good of embodying how hard of a time it is to be at that awkward teenage phase of your life where your friends start dating people, but you're not there yet, and you just want to stay doing the things you did as kids, like Dungeons and Dragons and hanging out in Mike's basement, but things are changing.
Yeah.
And he was just like the perfect person to represent that, I think.
I think so too. And, and then after all of that, we have this storyline of Nancy and Jonathan, which I never thought was going to tie into everybody.
I didn't either.
Until the hospital
I
sequence.
thought they would be on the outskirts trying to report this as the other kids are in the thick of it. And then at the end, it'd be like, of course you're involved type thing.
I did like that storyline. I thought it was a little heavy-handed with Nancy and her whole women in the workplace kind of motif that they try to do, because at the end of the day, I don't like Nancy. She is annoying. She's a piece of shit, and she only thinks of herself always. And that got her into trouble again with the guy
Jonathan
who likes
in
her.
Trouble. Yeah.
And her mom. That I think the best sequence was her and her mom talking, and her mom basically like laying it out for her and being like, "You're kind of right, but stop being a bitch."
Yeah.
like think of other people. And but I thought that was really cool how they all kind of converge. And then one of the greatest sequences that I think embodies what this show and why we all love this show is because it walks this balance beam so perfectly. The sequence with
Oh my God.
Dustin and Susie. We actually get Susie, which shout out to Susie. She is a local to us.
She is.
She is an 8th grader, I think. 7th grader in Niskayuna. But when they're singing the Never-Ending Story
greatest
theme,
scene of all time,
which is amazing.
Came out of I had no idea what was coming there.
Oh, it's so amazing. But what makes it even more amazing in my mind is that sequence is happening at the exact same time that Joyce and Hopper are desperately trying to put in a code to save the world. So it's like that nail-biting sequence. And then to ramp up everything, you've got Griswold family driving away from the giant, slimy Mind Flayer monster.
That you can hear in the background thumping as the singing's going on, which I thought was hysterical.
As the singing's going on. And then, on top of all of that, you've got Elle and Billy dealing with all of that at the mall.
Yep.
So what's nuts about this is like you have a sequence where there are all these moving parts. Some of them are highly suspenseful. Some of them are highly graphic and gory. And some of them are absolutely hilarious.
Right.
And yet it all works.
Oh,
it all works.
amazing.
Like how do you write that? How do you make that work and not make one of those sequences fall flat or not really work?
Right.
You know, like I could not believe how well that worked. And like I said, I think that specific sequence embodies all of what makes Stranger Things so amazing.
So good.
So, final thoughts from us here about this season and about moving forward. If we get a season 4, when do you think it'll happen? Do you think we'll get a time jump, or do you think it'll be we've now had season 1 in 83, season 2 in 84, and season 3 in 85. Do you think season 4 will be 86, or do you think we'll get a time jump?
I think just based off of the mid-credit scene cliffhanger, it is gonna be a pretty small window of time.
Yeah.
Unless, cause I really don't think they'd leave. If Hopper's in the Upside Down and Hopper's in prison, I don't think it's gonna be over a year. But then I was reading interviews with the Duffer Brothers saying that, they predicted season 4 being when the kids are getting ready to go to college, which would be a huge time jump. So really, I don't know. I could see it just being 86. I feel like that would make the most sense to just keep it in the same chronological year.
I agree too. We also, as the kids were leaving, and Will or Mike and Elle were talking about, well, we'll call each other every day, but are you going to come to Thanksgiving, and I'm going to come see you in Christmas? So we might see it around one of those times, either Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Maybe we'll see 1985 turn 1986 with the New Year's.
Maybe.
So it'll still be a jump, but
the other side of that argument, what if it could be around a spring break or a summertime as well, because kids will be off of school and be hopefully, parents will be able to travel a little bit easier. I don't know. I wonder if we're going to get a multi-location season.
I think so.
If Hopper's in Russia, which let's all cross our fingers that he's alive and he's in Russia, wouldn't it be cool if we see what the kids are doing with Elle in America, and at the exact same time what Hopper's doing in Russia, and somehow Elle senses that Hopper's out there.
Yeah.
And so the stories converge.
Or
her
powers come back and she is able to find him.
Right. And that's the other thing. Her powers are gone, but that is a comic book trope through and through. It's happened to Spider-Man. It's happened to Superman multiple times where they're in a situation and the trauma of that situation has made their powers go away. And I remember, there's a famous Spider-Man story all about that. And he's just like, I'll never have my powers. I guess they're gone. And it's like, no, they're not gone. You just have to. It's a mental block. And I think that's what it is. I don't think the bite has ripped her of her powers.
No, there's no. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I also wonder if we're going to get two things in season 4. If we're going to get more of the military involvement, because one of my biggest questions is, we now know that Russia has been dealing with the Upside Down and trying for that at least since 84, right? And we know what's been happening in Hawkins in America. Who's the chicken and who's the egg?
Right.
Who came first? If I went back and rewatched a lot of season 1 and season 2, and I could not believe the subtle times that people would mention Russia. Oh, if this got into the hands of Russia, or we can't let the Russians know about this. Now, they were all throwaway lines because it's the early 80s it's the Red Scare.
Yeah,
But now that we know who came first, who is working on this, who's in the same vein of the space race, who's winning this one?
Yep, exactly.
So I think I want to see more of that. And I know a lot of people don't like this storyline, but because it exists, I want to see more of the numbers.
Right. Maybe some of them are Russian. We don't know.
I mean, we met number 8 in season 2, and I agree that wasn't the greatest sequence in the world. But it did put into the lexicon, hey,
there are at least 11.
There are at least 11. Who out of the 11 exist?
Right.
What power sets do they have?
Maybe some of them are dead. Who knows?
Trust me, I don't want X-Men.
Yeah.
I
no.
don't want, a bunch of kids with all powers running around, but I want more information on what transpired
Right.
with Hawkins' lab and
I
whatever
agree.
other lab that we've dealt with.
There's just a lot of loose ends that need to be tied. Like we said, why this research was being done in the first place, why they wanted to open this portal where these freaking monsters and demogorgons are, why there are more, or where are the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the other kids that have been tested on? Why Hawkins? Why Russia? Who's involved? Who's covering it up?
The crazy thing, too, a real world thing, which I think would be very tough to do right in a fantastical science fiction way, because it's such a tragedy. In April of 1986 is when Chernobyl happened.
Right.
For real. And if they did do this in 86, it would be interesting if they were like, well, it's because of the upside down and Chernobyl blew up or something.
Right.
I don't know. Who knows? But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Thank you so much for
thank you.
joining us on Talking Death. We're going to do more of these. We really want to open this show up and do these for all sorts of different fandoms, all sorts of different fun stuff, because we're a bunch of nerds and we're proud of it.
Proud of it.
And we're definitely going to continue doing these, but I'm glad that you guys joined us live. If you guys are watching this on the replay on YouTube, thank you guys so much for watching that. Watch all of our stuff over here on YouTube as well. But thanks for joining us live on Twitch. I did not forget. I am going to call it live. Ecto Illusion. You win a 4-pack of cold brew coffee. I've seen you in those comments the entire time. All you got to do is shoot us a message right here on Twitch, or shoot me a message anywhere on social media at Fueled by Deathcast, and I'll get your coffee preference and where I can send it out to you. But Ecto Illusion, a 4-pack of cold brew, is on its way.
Congrats.
To you. Congrats. We're going to do more giveaways on these as well. I want to do some fun stuff, some interactive giveaway stuff on the screen and that kind of thing, but we're kind of just dipping our toes in here. But again, thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Tune in Wednesday right here on Twitch. Chelsea and I are going to run down all of our thoughts and theories on Spider-Man Far From Home. So if you're a fan of the Marvel movies and you've seen that movie, tune in on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Shannon and I will see you guys 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Death Wish Coffee Company Facebook page for a brand new Fueled by Death show this week with a special appearance from Dumpster Eric.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.